everybody, my name's TK and welcome to Pandemonium, my YouTube series where I talk about what I've been reading, watching, playing, collecting from within the weird and wonderful world of pop culture. In this video I want to talk about The Killing Joke, the latest DC/Warner Brothers animated feature adapted from the critically acclaimed graphic novel. So without any further ado, let's get to the goods. Okay, so first up in this adaptation of The Killing Joke for the big screen, for the silver screen, the voice talent. I need to talk about that. Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, Tara Strong. For those that you don't know, Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill plays the Joker, has done since I think like 1992, and for a lot of people is the definitive Joker. He's the one constant that has lasted, what, you know, let's say 20 odd years or so, and still going strong. He's in this, plays Joker. Kevin Conroy, the exact same thing as Mark Hamill. You know, played Batman for probably 20 odd years or so, and is in this film as well. Awesome. Tara Strong, who I mentioned, I think probably mostly known for maybe Harley Quinn and a few other sort of female characters throughout the DC animated universe. Awesome voice talent. She plays Barbara Gordon in this. Great. So, voice talent out of the way. What else have I got? I went and seen this film. I was very lucky to see it as a one-off screening at the cinema. And it had a pre-show thing about Mark Hamill and his voice talent and how long he's been playing the Joker. That was really cool. Another thing that it also mentioned in that pre-start thing I thought was really funny to mention was Mark Hamill, talking about how he cannot play the Joker. And the three words that described how he was not going to do it was, don't do Nicholson. I think that was a pretty funny thing to add in there when he was first, you know, gonna play Joker back in the 90s. Anyway, this was an adaptation from the 1988 graphic novel. I've read the graphic novel once or twice, so I knew what I was in for when I was going to watch this feature. As an adaptation, they did an amazing job. There's a couple of things I noticed that are a little different, but not massive tweaks. The first bit being Batman's relationship with Barbara. So those of you that don't know, Barbara is Batgirl and Batgirl is Oracle. They're all the same person. But in this, at the start of this film, a good chunk of it, probably a good 10-15 minutes, is really about Batman's relationship with Barbara. They end up getting it on at one point, which was pretty funny. You know, I think they had to really put that into the film to show this, you know, extra sort of level of chemistry or, you know, this relationship with Barbara other than just being sort of like a sidekick. And that brought with it a lot more weight when it comes to her getting, you know, shot in the spine as she does in the film. Oh, by the way, spoilers throughout all of this. You know, with any of my stuff, I've always got spoilers. There's no point talking about it if I'm not going to talk about the actual content. So, spoilers galore. Anyway. Barbara, you know, I guess the fundamentals of it, you know, Barbara gets shot and Joker really uses this really vicious act to try and drive Gordon nuts throughout the film. Ultimately doesn't work, but I guess what they did at the start with having, you know, Batman and Barbara sort of in this relationship, I guess they have a thing, a fling or a thing, whatever you want to call it, and you know, it ties in the sadness of what happens to her a lot better than if they actually didn't have that in there, which they didn't have in the book. As for an adaptation, you know, if you were trying to look at the actual panels and the wording from the graphic novel to what they put on the big screen, they did a stellar job. I gotta admit, I read the book again before heading to the actual screening of it, and they did a fantastic job. One little thing I noticed, which I thought was pretty cool, was there is actually a shot where Bruce is sitting at his back computer in the Batcave, and there's all these different shots of Joker from when they, you know, he's fought him from times before, or he's been captured, or they have mug shots and that sort of thing. And if you look at, I think it's like one of the top panels that they have is a shot of the Joker. He's actually it's like a Heath Ledger version. They've done the Mark Hamill version as a Heath Ledger version, and for those of you that watch it, I really want you to pause it when you get the chance, when it comes out on DVD or whatever, or if you're going to the cinema to see it, if you're lucky enough to see it on the big screen, see if you can see that shot, because it's a definite shot where Joker is sitting on that like bench that he did in the cell right before he blew that dude up with the cell phone thing in The Dark Knight. Is the Heath Ledger's version, where he does the big clapping at Gordon for catching him and being the man. They have that version of him in there, so if you know what I'm talking about, have a look and see if you can see it, because I guarantee you'll have a good laugh to yourself. It's quite cool. So for an adaptation, I thought it was really good. It was a R13 rated, so down here in New Zealand, R13 is a red labeled, restricted film. Didn't quite get the R16 mark, but I had a lot of people walking out of that saying, "God damn, that was pretty dark for a Batman story, wasn't it?" And pretty much all you gotta do is look at all the stories, and they're all pretty dark. But it was awesome to see it on the big screen, for it to get that R-rated rating for what maybe potential horror fans or people that like things a little bit darker in their content. They did a good job, and it was cool to see something that was animated but R-rated as well. I think they did something that's not necessarily heard of, and I don't mean like R18 horror, gore fest sort of stuff. I mean like mature thriller, weird sort of content. And when you think about the property that Batman is, and that it is it's so out there for all different ages, to get an R-rated thing is so special. So it is pretty cool for that. It is quite brutal, quite violent, quite, like I said, psychological. So much so that the punchline for the film, it's got people arguing even since the 80s, and me, myself, I still haven't decided whether, Batman kills the Joker or he doesn't. I know they insinuate a lot of things, but there's got to be a reason why, the writers and artists have never actually confirmed what happened at the end. And I'll get to my point. Another thing I thought of earlier today, after watching the film and comparing it with the book. I'll get to that a little bit later on. But what else happened in that film? People say, "Oh, Batman killed Joker and Barbara got shot." I guess for the wider sort of look at things, it does show the relationship of this whoever the Joker is. I mean, I can't remember if it's Jack Napier or Joe White or whatever any of his aliases are. It does show his whole persona, and is widely known as the definitive Joker origin. The one, if anybody's going to go by, they'll say he was the Red Hood. Killing Joke tells it best. I think that the Red Hood storyline actually originated from something that happened in like the 50s. I haven't read that storyline, but I'm pretty sure that is what this is sort of loosely based on, just adding it more into sort of the Batman mythos, maybe not lore. I don't know if it's canon. Everybody gets hung up on these words these days. I don't know if it's canon or if it's lore or whatever it be, but it's definitely based on something that came out in the 50s. Heck, I can't tell you what comic or issue that was, but hey, that's something that I heard. So, the debate. Did Batman kill the Joker at the end of The Killing Joke? So if I was to talk about the actual book itself, the graphic novel from 1988, I think it is, I would say no. I don't think he killed him in that. If I was to say off this movie, I would say yes. A couple of things and reasons why. I gotta explain myself, don't I? Yeah, okay. So, reason being, in the actual graphic novel, I didn't see his hands on top of his shoulders when he was, had Joker at the end after he's given this big punchline joke. I didn't see him. Again, you have to read it, to have a bit of a debate on this, I guess. I see him having his hands on the sides of his shoulders, on the upper armpits. I don't really see him having them on his actual shoulder bits, if that makes sense at all. They're both laughing at the end. They're both laughing, ha 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 ha, and it doesn't seem to me like they would actually kill him. You watch this, and it seems like only Batman's laughing at the end. Joker's laugh gets cut out. When he places his hands on his shoulders to have join in this laugh, I guess, this punchline laugh, he has them actually on his shoulders and them on the sides. I could be reading too much into trying to, you know, get those two things exact, but that seems like a very big thing when you're talking about something that has got parts to it which has been chosen to be canon. Now, the big thing that really sits wrong with the whole mythos slash canon slash Elseworld side of things is Barbara Gordon gets shot through the spine, right? She becomes Oracle. Now that is canon. You know, you can't argue with the fact that she has become Oracle. You know, Barbara has become Oracle because she got shot through the spine by Joker. So if Batman killed Joker, how can that not be canon? And who the hell has been running around as Joker for the last, you know, how many odd years? It seems really weird that you would have one piece to the story that has been taken as canon and put into the entire sort of comic continuum, and the actual punchline and main purpose to this story gets cast aside and is just told, you know, it can be explained. It just never happened. You know, Joker's around, but hold on. From that same storyline, if Joker survived, what happened? Why is Barbara not up and walking around? You know, isn't that the whole purpose that Joker gets killed from this? If that's the argument, how can they just take one thing which is, you know, minute in comparison to the whole point of the goddamn book and the point of the movie? So I think that could be why they're, you know, DC is a bit reluctant or doesn't want to necessarily go on record as to what happened to the Joker. They don't answer it. I've looked up. Brian Bolland doesn't tell you what actually happened. Alan Moore just fucking disses his own product, you know. And other writers, Grant Morrison says he you know, he's been killed, even though Grant Morrison didn't you know, write the book. I think it's quite a funny argument that nobody will go on record officially to say what happened. And I tell you what, if that is out there and somebody has come out to say what has happened, I really want to know. But I can't find that, and I can't decipher it apart from saying I don't think it happened in the book, but I do think it happened in the movie. With all that said, I've been loving talking about The Killing Joke. I wish I could talk more, but my little thingy up here is flicking, saying it's about to die, so I won't strangle it any longer. You've been watching Pop Pandemonium. My name's TK, and I'll see you next time.